Hey guys, today's Monday, September the 11th of 2023, and I wanted to go over the US dollar. So without any further delay, let's get into it. I wanted to see some of the cycles and seasonality and see where we're at with the dollar. Because it looks like it wants to test that high, but you know what? The weekly cycle, which is the 180, this cycle is down. Interesting. And this cycle hits a trough somewhere around September 30th of 2024. And mind you, this is going to fluctuate and change. It's going to probably come in a little earlier. It's going to come a little later. But somewhere right as of right now, as of today's video, today's date, September 30th of 2024, is the cycle low or the trough. So let's look at the daily and see what the daily is indicating. Okay, so looking at the daily cycle, we have cycle that is dominant here is the 322. So we see that we have a low here on May, somewhere around the 9th of 2023. And it looks like it bounced and then made a final low. So it was off. It came in early. And then the low came in somewhere around July. And then got this nice little pop. Now the peak of this cycle is going to be hitting around November 22nd of 2023. So we got the weekly cycles that are down, and we got the daily cycles that are up. From what I learned, the one that is more dominant is more the weekly cycle, is giving you the bigger direction, the bigger picture. But within that bigger picture, there's going to be fluctuations or oscillations of, up and down within that bigger picture, which is the weekly. So in theory, we could see the dollar rise up around to November, get very toppy, and then resume the weekly cycle projection, which is down all the way to, it probably might fluctuate back and forth. But for the weekly cycle, it bottoms out September 30th as of today's date of 2024. So it's not just going to go straight down to next year. It's going to, do the back and forth. It could probably just consolidate and then decide to go down. So there's like a lot of, paths they could go. But as right now, the daily cycle is up to November 22 of 2023. Let's look at our seasonality chart on the dollar, and using a 5-year average, you notice that September is very strong on the dollar. You get this nice little pop up, and then October is weak, and then November is flat, and we don't have no data for December. If we go and do a 10-year, you notice that September is still strong. October, November strong, and then December gets a little weak. We do a 15-year, you can see that August is stronger than September. October is kind of flat, and November is strongest, and then December gets weak. And using a 20-year, August and September are kind of the same, and October is a little flat, close to flat, and November gets a nice little bump, and December is weak. So we go back to the 5-year. You can notice that even between the 10, September strong, and the 5-year, September is the strongest. Looking at another seasonality chart that I like to watch, you can see the dollar. That's where we're at right now. We're at the 5-year. You can see that the 5 years as of today, September 7th, all the way to like September 14, actually September 18, it gets a nice little bump to the upside, somewhere to September 25th. So all the way towards the end of the month, it actually gets stronger as it goes towards the end of the month. Using the 10-year, you can see that it kind of goes sideways and then it dips, but somewhere from the 15, it starts, rising again, grinding higher. It looks like the 5-year gets it around the 15th, but then on the 5-year, on the 18th of September, that's when it really starts moving. But with a 5-year, 10-year average, it starts on the 15th. When we had the 15-year average, it's kind of like neck and neck with the 10-year average. So we could probably either see a pullback, maybe just kind of go sideways, and somewhere from the 14th to the 15th, even all the way to the 18th, the dollar should start grinding higher, and it gets toppy between the 5 and 10 on the 25th, and it looks on the 15-year, it continues even grinding higher. Looking at the commitments of trader report, you can see that commercial, this color right here, that's them. They've just been slowly accumulating the dollar. And somewhere around here, let's say August 7th to August 28th, they have just kind of stalled as of right now. This is the zero line. So they're still negative. As of right now, they're negative 5,000. You can see commercial, the blue line, they've been selling. Get this little bump. And they're all getting close to the zero line, which is this line right here. Once they go over, they're committing, commercial's committing that, dollar's going to go lower. So they're accumulating. And if commercial goes below the zero line, where they're at right now is 3,359, they go negative zero. That means that they're convinced and have conviction that the dollar is going to go lower. What will change the scenario that the dollar goes higher is that commercial, start going down and large speculators start accumulating. So commercial, selling, hedging. But that's what the commitments of traders report. Not really showing much. Just what's showing is that they're getting very narrow to the zero line, which is interesting. And this is the last clip. I just wanted to show you the market profile. We've been finding support at that 102. That's the value area high. This area right here concerns me, that 105. We haven't gotten up there yet. There's a value area high of 107. This is the weekly. This is the monthly. And this is the daily right here. And we're above the value area line. So there's not a value area line. This is a port of control. The value area high is 107. So that could possibly be a target. You can see right here in the cloud, it gets a little thick or closer to the line right here. And it shows that it could be possible. So anywhere you can see, we hit a high here. So everything 105 all the way to like 10, 109, 107. Let's look at our simple glance chart. We can see we got a MACD crossover on the monthly. We're above the cloud, so that's positive. We were chopping around here. There was a strong support of 101, but we kind of pierced it, especially on this one. And now we got a PPS buy signal. Hikanashi monthly candle is positive. We are above the 20. We're above all the moving averages. Where's the 200? Yep, 200's down here. So we're above all the moving averages. So that's positive. And so far, that's holding. Interesting. Well, we know the weeklies are down. The daily is up. And this is the price action we're getting on the monthly. On the weekly, we are below the cloud. So it's not, not totally strong. It looks like we're going to be getting a crossover on the MACD. And we are above all the moving averages, the 200, the 20, the 100, and the 50. But we are below the cloud. Once we start penetrating the cloud, it's going to get a little crazy and excuse me, volatile. And you also see the linear regression channel here. So it could get a little interesting, a little toppy unless we push harder and higher. But you see the linear regression channels are pointing sideways, indicating just chop fest. So kind of like swings that you could just catch in place. So it's not really trending. It's just kind of, consolidating right now. But it looks like with a bias, path of least resistance to the upside. So we know that November, the daily cycles peak. And we know September 2024, the weekly cycles hit a trough. Looking at the daily, the MACD crossover is negative. Market sentiment is positive. You got this nice impulse wave here since of July 18th and broke through the cloud, and the cloud is positive, and the linear regressions are pointing up like to the sun or to the north. And you can see that it's looking good. It's just chopping back and forth. People buy it. Moving moving averages are starting to point up. So that's good. We just hit a Tom DeMark 13th candle here. Doesn't mean anything. The 9th Tom DeMark candle worked here, but it didn't work there. So here's a 13th. And we're just kind of oscillating back and forth. But so far, everything is looking good. The only thing is that the MACD is a little negative and it looks like it could probably get a crossover, but it's not there yet. Getting very, very, very toppy. Maybe a double top here. You never know. Excuse me. Excuse me. So let's look at the midpoint chart. Let's look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that this is 104 of the midpoint. Somewhere around there. Yeah, right. 104.71. And we kissed it here and fail. We pierced it and shot and then fail. Could this play out right here? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it could just go sideways here to November and then go down, because that's when the daily cycles peak. But this is a key level you want to keep an eye on. Actually, this is not the monthly. This is the yearly. So this is the yearly midpoint. I take that back. The monthly is this one right here. And we are above it, 103.09. So that's good. I mean, we're very overextended, if you ask me. Somewhere around here, we just hit this pivot here, which is 105. There's the next one here. It's going to grind higher to 105.80. But so far, you know, it looks like it wants to head there, unless this is it, and then it starts going down. Then you're going to find support, you know, somewhere around the 103.09. And on the weekly, it's so far the midpoint here for this week is 104.60, 104.64, and that as of now is holding. So that's looking good. It's going to push higher, test that 105.15, 105 and the 42, and then 105.68. If this doesn't hold, your target to the downside will be first 104.35, then the 104.10, 103.84, 103.58, and you got last week's midpoint, which is 103.64. So somewhere around here will be good support if it pulls back this week. I think that's it. I'm not going to cover the dailies because it's more, you know, fractal, but you can see that this is holding. And in order to be buying or, you know, scalping to, you know, bullish, you need to get above at least 104.88 and also stay above here, above 104.62. Well, those are my thoughts on the dollar. I wanted to get that out of the way. You know what? Let's look at this chart too. Let me make some notes here. It's a weekly cycle, the 180. It's a trough around 9:30 of 2024. So I have it in red, meaning that that cycle is down. However, the daily, we hit a peak as of now of November the 22nd of 2023, and that cycle is up. And this is where we're at right now, chucking along. So, and I had a target of 98, and it never made it there. So I don't know if it's going to continue grinding higher to November or somewhere around there, October, November. And then once we hit November, starts going down and maybe hits the target of 98 that I'm still have for the dollar. Well, hopefully you like this video. I'm going to sign out. Look at the currency pairs. They're all green. I'll keep you up to date on my thoughts on the US dollar.